And welcome to CRL Legends Division Round 4 of Season 3. We're at Baku tonight. We had a little bit of a mishap a moment ago as I was logged into the wrong account, but we're on the correct account now and we're ready to go racing here in Baku tonight. That was a very embarrassing mistake from me, as I'm normally so much more organised than that, but mistakes happen at times, and tonight it was my turn to suffer from one of said mistakes. But Baku tonight, 26 laps of racing to come after the qualifying session of 18 minutes, and we have 12 drivers tonight ready to give it their everything and see who can win, as we have a couple of new faces which we haven't seen yet this season, and we have a few others who are regulars. We're missing who I think is championship leader Fiora tonight. I will get up the constructor standings and we'll do the constructor standings whilst drivers do their outlaps around the Baku Street Circuit tonight. So Salba lead the Constructors' Championship on 53 points, and there's Williams on 45, Red Bull also on 45 points. There's Alpine behind them on 39, just edging out Mercedes who are on 37. There's McLaren on 30. Then there's a battle for 7th between Ferrari on 18, Haas on 15, Racing Bulls on 12, and then Aston bring up the rear of the field on 6 points. We'll get the drivers' standings between the qualifying and the race sessions tonight, but Furious in the Alpine is the first driver out on track, and this will be an interesting race tonight. Very interesting to see how many people do and don't make it round the track. As we'll just get the Twitch chat up. Hello Daniel and hello Paula in the Twitch. BF9. As if you hear me yapping to someone in the background today, we have, although you guys can't hear him, we have the league owner in the background. I'm on Xbox, I can't stream Discord chat, voice chats. It's a bit annoying, but it is what it is. As Furious is about to go. As we'll take a quick swig of drink before we go racing and get the food washed out of my teeth. As Furious is about to go on the first push lap of qualifying. As down into turn 1, the first 3 turns being 90-degree left-handers and a 90-degree right-hander for the 4th turn, but we're not there yet. Through turn 2, as a little bit of a shunt into the wall, or not a little bit, a big shunt into the wall, but not getting any damage. DRS is open as we head down this back straight. As someone in the background there, everyone's getting a bit of a shunt into that wall on the exit of turn 2, but through turn 3 into turn 4 now for Furious. As we come to the end of this first sector, it is a 36.382 through the first sector. He's keeping it nice and clean. Obviously that little shunt into the wall as we'll ride on board as he heads through turn 8 and now up into the old castle section. I think that's turn 8. Oh, as he's nearly gone straight on into the castle section. That's not what you want to do. It's going to cost him a bit of time. He's kept a valor, but he's going to have to be careful as there's a Haas of Polar off at turn 1 on an outlap line. Everyone through his Morph has retired, and that looks like it's in the castle section. We'll try and, yeah, he's done similar to what Furious did, but he's hit the wall with a bit more power. 118.6 through the first 2 sectors for Polar though. And now he's through the sweeping final sector, practically flat out apart from that first heavy braking zone. Very easy if you get too happy on the throttle as well through the sweeping part to just lose the rear, especially in the wet. It's nice and dry today. But DRS open and now it's down to the line. And Furious, 1 minute 44.7, the opening lap of qualifying. His Alpine teammate of Daniel will be next to the line And he does a 1 minute 41.9. Next is going not be Angelo, it was Rocco who's gone fastest. Then there's going to be Teki Kashi. I don't know how to pronounce that. Anyway, Rocco's gone fastest, and the Aston Martin's gone second fastest. Next is going to be SFS B French, who goes into 4th position. Rylan Ninja, whatever you want to call him, moves into 7th. MM Racing up into 5th position on intermediates with a 1 minute 43.8. Very good lap for him. The other Sauber now of Swarchek is going to come to the line. He goes fastest with a 1 minute 40.708. 400 faster than Rocco. Very good lap from him. Pola about to start a lap. So we'll go to the Red Bull of Macambu. And what can he do in that nice white Red Bull livery to the line? He goes fastest with a 1 minute 40.557. Everyone is one-upping one another as Pola pulls into the pits. Angelo also pulled into the pits at the end of his push lap. So Macambu currently fastest. And it's Swolchek and Rocco. Then it's Teki Kashu. Daniel in 5th. SFS B French in 6th. MM Racing in 7th on the intermediates. Daniel and SFS B French both doing their laps on mediums. And it's Furious in 8th. Rylan, aka Ninja, aka LM4 Quadrant, whatever you want to call him. I'll probably end up calling him either Rylan or Ninja. That's what I know him by most of the time. He's in 9th. And then there's Pola and Angelo. Yet to sell lap time. And a Mov, who has crashed in the castle section on his first push lap of the session. Someone says exactly 0.040 is crazy. That is between Swolchek and Rocco. That's very close gap between them. Certainly, as someone says that they're a second faster than that. Interesting if you can live up to the expectations you're setting as. Well, who's on a lap now is the question. Rylan is on a lap, but we'll have a look at my game's back working again. MM Racing comes into the pits. Swolchek into the pits as well. Macambu looks to be coming into the pits this lap round as well. Rocco, no, is it Rocco who won? Rocco. No, it's not Rocco next, so we'll not. Daniel, that's who we were looking for. It took us a little while to get there, but we found him eventually. It's Daniel 3.6 down. It's Rocco up in the first sector, thank you. Rocco up in the first sector, we'll see. Well, he can do 3.1 down in the second sector, so he's not really on a push lap this time around. So we'll go to the Sauber of Rylan, who's 3.6 seconds up, so he's finding a lot of time on his previous lap, as the Aston Martin of Teki Kashu has found the wall and is out. And now to the line for Rylan. What can he do? Up into 4th position with a 4.3 second gain. Good lap from him. We'll go to Angelo next. He's a little bit of a toe from the Alpine of Furious ahead of him. Where will Furious move out of his way? Furious doesn't look to be wanting to get out of the way. He's just going to keep sitting there in front of Angelo. He's all over the place, and he's going to have to move out of the way, otherwise as he does move out of the way eventually, as you can see, if he did move out of the way, probably be very dangerous and pushing the edge there a bit for him. But we'll watch Angelo as he's now on the way down to the line. As in fact, Furious in the Alpine is going to try to get past him before the line. Angelo moves himself into 7th. Next on a lap is Pola. So right on board with the Haas as he finishes off the second sector and final sector. down to the end of the second sector, 1 minute 15.395. He's on a flying lap in the Hacia now. And we'll see what he can do on this final sector to finish off this lap. He keeps it nice and clean throughout, and now just a drag race to the line. And the 1 minute 39.302, so very good lap from him. Next up to cross the line, B French has just started a lap. Furious is about halfway through a lap. Yeah, we'll watch Furious. No, he's on a lap. He's 18 seconds down through the first sector. Angelo has just finished a lap, so it's B French. That's who we'll ride on board with in the Ferrari this time. 2.25 of a second up through that first sector for the Ferrari driver. What can he do through the rest of this lap? As we'll ride on board as he heads up into the castle section. Okay, so they're a lot nicer than Furious did on the first lap. As loses the rear a little bit on the exit, but keeps under control. And we'll be hoping he didn't lose too much time through that. As behind him on a lap as well is Racing in the Mercedes. So we'll have a look at him in a minute's time. 7 tenths up for B French though through the first 2 sectors. So he's starting to find his groove and find time on this lap. Does he have more time in this final sector? That's the question though. And we'll find out in a moment's time as DRS is open. ERS is being used fullest into the line. He only moves himself up 1 position into 8th with 1 minute 41.452. Racing now, we'll see what he can do in the Mercedes car. He's now coming up to the line. He loses a 10th and a half through his lap. 300ths up for Macambou through the first sector, and we'll see what he can do in this middle sector. He's 1.2 seconds off Pola, who currently has pole position. That didn't show us the middle sector difference, so we'll assume that Macambou is still up. We'll see what he can do in this final sector here tonight. 6 minutes left of qualifying. Now we're closing into the final moments, as now to the line what can Macambou do. To 1 minute 40.557. So, well, I don't know, but Daniel's gone fastest now as Macambou's left the session, so that is very confusing. I just showed him crossing the line and now it shows him this. I don't know what's going on with this game. Gotta love this game at times. Rocco currently in first, so Daniel moved himself up into second during that with a 1 minute 40.1. Rocco will be next to the line. Let's see what the Williams can do. He qualified well last week. He moved himself into second with a 7/10 gain. Racing to the line. Can he find any time? Racing goes fastest in the Mercedes, 1 minute 38.839. He's setting the new standard for Pola to chase. Wolchek has invalidated. Furious is on an outlap. Daniel, I don't suspect he'll be on a push lap. Not with the time he's on his lap. So it looks like in the last 4.5 minutes of qualifying, it's just a bit of a stalemate until we start seeing drivers come out again. But we know that Furious in Alpine here is about to start a push up as Angelo is pulling out of the pits as well. I'm going to get a few more drivers starting to pull out. Next minute, Furious has lost an end plate. He's gone outbraked himself into turn 1 and lost a front right end plate. And you've got to be careful around here to not outbrake yourself like that. Okay. And 7/10 down for Furious. So yeah, that shunt into the wall at turn 1 certainly set himself up for failure this lap. And we'll see, can he get through the castle section better this time round? No, he cannot. Why did I ask myself that question? Because I am stupid. I am stupid. That's a good one, since we're Baku. The limited brain cells in my head are now on a different wavelength to one another, so apologies to anyone watching the stream. I have very limited brain cells that do not function together in my head. They function against each other in the battle to be the dumbest. As we will switch to Makamu, as he has found himself the runoff area on his outlap. And that's not where the track is, Makamu. But continue with whatever you're trying to do there. I don't know what I'm trying to say now. Angelo, he's on a lap. Let's see what the Williams man can do this time round. Currently down in 10th, his teammate Rocco is up in 3rd. Can he match his teammate? Can he go faster than his teammate? Well, only time will tell. There's 1.2 down in the first sector as he's not finding time through the first sector. But he has time to recharge battery this lap and go for another one, just get around safely. But we'll stay on board with him until we know what is happening for sure. It does look like he's going to go for another one. As in fact, Swarchek will go on board with him as he has just started his final lap of qualifying. And those who are still in the pits won't have time to make a round to go for a final lap in this qualifying session. So, Furious has pretty much called it quits this lap. Or this lap, not this lap, this qualifying session. He won't be starting dead last because that will be him off. But let's see what Swarchek can do. 2/10 up through the first sector, so he's finding a bit of time so far, just opening up that gap to his teammate in behind him. Let's see what will happen as we'll get the Drivers' Championship up, ready for the end of this session. There's 38 seconds of qualifying, 30 seconds roughly. It's a bit of a race for those out on track to get around and start a lap, although everyone will get to start their final lap. Swarchek will be the first to finish their final lap though, as 6/10 up through the first 2 sectors for the Sauber driver. He's finding good time. Can he continue to find this good time? Could he possibly take a surprise provisional pole position? That would be a huge shock to those who often watch Furious. Has decided to go for an lap. He's not going to get it done as the checkered flag falls. Swarchek first to the line, 1 second improvement. He only moves himself up to 3rd position. Makamu 9,000th of a second up through the first sector. Margins for the Red Bull driver. He's pushing it to his limit by the looks of it. 1.5 tenths up for Makamu through the first 2 sectors. There is an... I don't know who that is behind him. I think that might be Furious's AI behind him. As now on that run down to the line for Makamu. What can he do in the end? He finds 8 tenths and moves himself up into 4th position. Next will be Rocco, 600th down through the first 2 sectors. Can he find himself time in this final sector? So you're right on board, and then just behind him is the Sauber of Rylan. Rocco remains 5th. Rylan, what can he do on this lap? Remains 7th. The Ferrari now off B French into the pits. Who's next? Daniel, 10th up, moves himself up ahead of Rocco. Racing, 1:38.566. What can Pola do? Can he take pole? No, he can't. Pola does not take pole. Only second for him, and Angelo pulls himself into the pit lane. So that is the end of qualifying. Racing takes pole with a 1:38.566. Exactly half a second over Pola in second. Then it's Swolchek, Makambu, Daniel, Rocco, Rylan, Teki Kashu, B French, Angelo rounding off the top 10. And it's Furious and Mov who didn't get to set a lap time in this qualifying session. And with that, so Racing exactly half a second ahead of Pola in the end, and then Swolchek rounding off the top 3. We also have this break. We'll have a quick look at the drivers' standings. Fiora has a 21-point lead over Makambu in the standings. Makambu in second, and Angelo on 27 points behind him in third. Then it's Kaname, who's no longer with us, unfortunately, in fourth. Mahmudev, who's not here tonight, is in fifth, and it's Capcot in sixth. Liam in 7th, DJ Taylor in 8th, 96 in 9th, and it's Daniel rounding off the top 10 in the drivers. Then it's Thomas James, Potonic, Nitos, V. Thomas, Rylan and Swolchek, the two Saubers in 15th and 16th, but Swolchek with a good qualifying. Mov is then in 17th, then it's Keegan in 18th, Rocco in 19th, Morgan in 20th, Hayne in 21st, Volt in 22nd, but we're going to go racing, so we don't have time to continue with that. As we go into the 5 red lights. That's the lights out, and away we go for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's a very good start from Racing as he gets himself nicely ahead of Pola by the start, and Swolchek all over the place a little bit, but Makambu makes his move up into 3rd position as Rocco is going to try to squeeze himself through for 4th past Swolchek. Someone's dropping back. It's Teki Kashu and Ninja, who's in a battle with B French. B French moves to the inside. He's dropped down to 11th. He's going to try to get the car under control, under brake hands. All a little bit of chaos on lap 1 here. Mob 3.8 behind everyone is Swolchek. He's dropped himself down into 11th, and his teammate, is this teammate? No, it's not his teammate. Sorry, himself is missing an entire front wing, so he's going to be in at the end of this lap. Furious picks up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting on lap 1. That's not a good start. They've lost an end plate going up through the castle section there, but Racing 1.5 out in the lead of Pola as there's a yellow flag further back. And who's that for? That's for Mov as he's hit the wall on the castle section. He's now missing an entire front wing as well, but we'll get the tyres up. Everybody on the hards except from B French and Racing, who have both opted for the medium tyres from the start, and that is Mov retiring from the session, and that is virtual safety car out at almost the end of the first lap. But we'll get up the position changes. So Swolchek losing 8 positions, Furious finding 5 as that's Rocco into the pits, who found 1 position off the start but now coming into the pits missing an end play. Furious now up 6 but picking up a penalty as well. Rocco now dropping back through the field. Swolchek also into the pit lane. DRS is now enabled and we are back racing once again. Daniel putting a little bit of pressure on the Red Bull of Mackenboo. Oh, what did I just... I just watched Daniel go right under Mackenboo's car and having him mounted on top of him. F1 cars are not meant to work like that, in case no one knew that. But continuing with what I was trying to say, so Rocco is out of the pits and Swarchek are both out of the pits, both are medium, so they'll be making another stop in this race as well. Lap 2 of 26, Racing trying to open that gap up to Polar, who's in second, and then there's this battle for the final podium position between Mackenboo and Daniel. Mackenboo wants to get the points to close in the championship on Fiora. Daniel wanting to try and boost himself up in the championship a little bit if he possibly can. This is the closest battle on track, as both of them just clipped the wall a little bit on the way down the hill. Neither of them have damage, luckily for them, as both of them just have a little bit of lag, but you somewhat expect that in league racing. Further back, B French is under a bit of pressure from Angelo. He's 2.4 off Techie ahead of him, as in fact further ahead Rylan has made it past Furious as Racing sets a new fastest lap of the race. Polar is in and retiring from the race. Interesting decision from him there, as that will now put Swarchek and, well, it will now put Swarchek into the points position, paying places, as Angelo has, well, Angelo made it past B French for a second and then did a 360 through the second corner. We caught the second half of that 360, but he's now missing a front right end plate, as he will continue to battle with the Ferrari as this race continues. Mackenboo now in second. Oh no, sorry, Mackenboo down to third. Daniel has made it past him for second place in the standings. It's not standings. Second place in this race. That's what I was trying to say. Ryland currently sitting in fourth. He's got Furious and Techie behind him. Techie's trying to... Oh, Techie might have it on Furious. Techie does have it on Furious. Furious tucking in behind the Aston Martin. Techie just capitalising on Furious, going deep. Furious dropping back quite a bit as well to the Aston Martin now. And Techie can now set his sights on Rylan out ahead of him, whatever you want to call him. Rylan Ninja 11-4 quadrant. That's too much of a mouthful to try to say at speed during commentary in a race. B French has now dropped back past below Angelo once again, as Racing sets a new fastest lap of the race of 1 minute 42.7. Mere extents anyway, hit penalty. I think once Alba already has damage, as B French makes it past Angelo once again. These two just trading positions every straight they can now. But we'll continue to go through. Sonas P2 retire as Rocco sets a new fastest lap, and is that now? I thought for a second that was Rocco causing a yellow flag, but it wasn't, as Rylan has lost out position to Techie ahead, but he'll remain on the back of the Aston Martin. So both on the hard tyres. But someone asking, P2 retiring, question mark. Yes, it was P2, which was Polar, retiring at the end of lap 2. Interesting decision, but there'll be possibly an investigation into what the reasoning behind that was after the race. You know, we just have to assume that something went wrong. You never know. Do you want me to mention it or not? As we actually have an update from the league owner in the background here. In the background, bit of a race control tonight, which you guys obviously can't hear, and I mean in some ways at times it might be good that you can't hear it after the conversation I've just had down my ear. But we have an update on the Polar situation, for those of you who are interested in it. in fact, the reason we don't have Liam, aka Janguzi, aka the Ferrari guy who DNF'd last week here, is due to him serving a race ban for erratic driving over the last couple of races this season. We have had confirmation that it was him driving for Polar tonight, which is failure to serve race ban, so there'll be an investigation amongst the stewarding and or most likely the admin team, not stewarding team, into that, as a bit of a whack in the wall for Rocco there through turn 2. Doesn't look like he's got any damage from it though, but there'll be an investigation from the admin team into it, and a decision will be made in the coming days as to what will happen. We'll possibly keep you updated next week if there's anything to do with it being updated, or if anyone is still interested by then. But Rylan here, sitting in 5th, putting the pressure on Decky ahead of him. Not in DRS zone, there's no one in the DRS detection of the driver ahead of them, so it's a bit of a stalemate of the race now. It'll be interesting to see what will happen. OSM match is about to start, by the way. No one needed to know that in the background, but you know, when there's not much happening in the race, you don't really have much to commentate on because all the gaps are just constantly growing to one another. Fate will be determined. That's a good way to put it. Fate will be determined on what will happen to him as Racing is into the pits and is onto the hard. So the mediums not going as long as some people may have expected them to go, and he'll come out in a nice window. Actually, he pulls out of the pits in a nice window, 5th. He's 3 seconds off the driver ahead, but 4 seconds off the driver behind. So a nice little window for Racing, the Mercedes driver tonight, to pull out into and just be able to manage his race now. Oh, that was Mov leaving the session. That was not Mov retiring from the session. He's already out of the session. What am I talking about? But Wednesday, you know, whilst there's not much happening here, we'll talk about Wednesday. So obviously, as everyone knows, Wednesday, actually there's a few announcements we will make as this race continues. First off, Wednesday's race, obviously, Elite Division around Abu Dhabi, and it's a sprint race, so that'll be an interesting one. You might even see myself on track. Who knows? Mystery. Anyways, continuing with that, going into the future, we have a couple of new divisions to announce. First of all, we'll go through the order of the channels here when I look at it. The Fantasy Division to announce. So, Fantasy Division, as actually Racing does make it past Rylan with ease, as that is B French further back, facing the wrong way, or facing sideways. A Swarchek has hit a wall by the looks of it, and Swarchek is out, and that's a full course safety car. Furious picks up a 10-second penalty for colliding with a Rocco. As a... what have I just witnessed? As a Furious missing front wing now. I thought he was about driving to the back of the safety car. I've seen a couple of months back now, someone drove into the back of a safety car at Suzuka and then said they didn't know the safety car was going to be stopped where it was. That was an interesting decision. Anyways, continuing with what I was trying to say, I just got pinged in the admin chat there. So Fantasy Division, first of all, Furious 10-second corner cutting penalty and straight into a wall. We're going to switch to someone else. we're going to switch to someone else. That's just a bit painful to watch. B French has been in the pits. New not soft tyres, that's not soft tyres, medium tyres on his car. Daniel leads the race. Now we'll see who decides to pit under the safety car. But going back to what I was going to say, Fantasy Division has been announced in the Discord the other day. We are getting that filled. When that will start, we're not. Oh, well, Furious picks up another 10-second penalty. How many penalties is this guy on? 33 seconds. I'm not even gonna. That's painful to look at. So. When? Perfect. We have a date for when the Fantasy Division is looking to start. It's the 17th of February. So we have a few teams in it. We have the Cryptic Racing team, which is obviously the CRL team themselves. Then there's Porsche F1 team, TNRF1, Aura, TNRF1, Tom Nichols Racing Formula 1, aka Thomas James. Furious retires from the session independently, but aka Thomas James. For those of you who don't know him, he drives a McLaren, I think. Anyways, then there's Aura Racing Team. If you're going to ask why is it called Aura Racing Team, the man himself, who we're going to ride on board with here in this harbour of Ryland, said it's because it's based on Chloe Kelly. God help us all, I actually wanted to smash my head into a wall when I heard about that. Then there is Velocity Racing Team. Oh, that's a different Velocity to what I thought it was. Sorry. When I heard Velocity the other day, I thought it was a different Velocity team. Obviously this was not streaming up. I've just realised that it's a different one to what I thought, so I'm not actually complaining about it as much now. Then we have Gridlink Racing Team. We'll have more on them, possibly today or possibly in the future. Then there's... Oh, I can't even read that. What does that say? Phoenix Racing Team. There's Phoenix Racing Team. Then there's a couple of placeholders. There's 3 placeholder teams. And then there's North Coast Racing Team. Driver lineups. A couple of teams confirmed their main drivers. No one's confirmed full main and reserve driver lineup yet. So, we won't go through the lineups just yet until they're confirmed properly. But as we've said, that is expected to start around the 17th of February. Angelo has left the session. He's out of the race as well. I missed that while I was yapping about the Fantasy Division. Then we have Realistic Division coming as well. And no update on my year. Under 5 drivers finishing, no points. So 3 more drivers to do left, and we won't have any points. And I'll be yapping for nothing for the next half hour, which is yay. I love yapping. I need so much help in my head. Anyways, continuing. Who that? Oh. Can't lie. Did not look like they knew how to drive without braking. That's from what I've seen. Not gonna lie. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this is like this might be like me dissing drivers and all. But the guy was going on at every corner in a straight line. Like, tap the brakes a little bit, please. Just hold the brakes into the corner. As long as this race is finished in the next hour and 13 minutes, I will be happy because I have an endurance race, GT4, around Laguna Seca. So, well, I'm having to drive the GT4 because I don't qualify to drive the GT3, blah blah blah. Anyways, continuing. Realistic, do we have a date for Realistic? Realistic looks to be a Saturday in line with season 4. Please don't put it too late on a Saturday. That works. Anything before 6 PM, anything after 10 PM works perfectly. Perfection. Just don't put it between 8 and 10. Sorry, don't put it between 6 and 10, sorry. Yeah, so that looks to be Saturday in line with the start of Season 4, but we're going to get racing in a moment. Once again, Racing is going to lead us to go racing once more around the Baku Street Circuit. He goes, and I don't think he really caught anyone off, to be honest. Everyone's sort of together. As further back, Makamu going a little bit off a shunt out wide. Daniel is going to try and send a wheel-to-wheel with Rylan here. Rylan, they're squeezing each other through there. Makamu dropping down to 5th. Past the Kikashu, who makes it up past Rylan as well. And now Makamu is going to look to try and capitalise on it as well. Everyone capitalising on having them fresher tyres against Rylan's worn out hard tyres, which he started the race on. Possibly he's going for the one stop here, but he might as well have just took the free pit stop under safety cars. He's dropped to 6th from 2nd in the first sector alone, and now he's got B French on his tail, wanting to capitalise in the coming moments. Well, up ahead, Daniel has taken the lead of the race whilst we were focusing on Rylan's downfall through the grid. But Racing won't be too worried about it, as he's on the hards compared to Daniel's medium, so Daniel will have the faster tyres at this stage in this race. As we'll wait for the grid to sort of open up again before we go on another yap session about what's to come in the future of the league and more announcements. I don't know if there's any more. If there is, I'll be kind of told, screamed down my ear, like, talk about this, you need to mention it. It's my first time ever having someone, you know, the owner just said, I'm not like, I'm just taking the mic with that. He's not actually screaming down my ear, he's just giving me stuff to talk about. As Racing is going to try and send it around the outside. He locks the brakes up a little bit. Daniel defends well. It's turn 1, but DRS is enabled now. He's going to have to try and defend it down into turn 3. Through turn they go. Rocco's up into 3rd. I meant through turn 2 they go. And now Racing is going to try and send it wheel to wheel into turn 3. Daniel just edges out the lead, about 10th in it. Racing is trying to get through. He has another DRS straight down the back straight. We'll go on board with Daniel we'll go on board with Racing. Actually, it's easier to see what's going on from his POV. As the wheel to wheel still, he goes towards the outside into the hairpin looking corner. Daniel just parks it on the apex, defending well. Now up into the castle section. No chance of making an overtake up through there unless you're on a motorbike. Continuing, they're starting to try and open up a gap to Rocco. Rocco is trying to stay with them. Rocco has lost Deki, who's got Makamu on his tail, but now Racing in behind will get hopefully a nice run down that back straight, and DRS will be used to try and give him a little bit of an advantage down on the run to turn 1. And he's already closing the gap in through the sweeping section. Daniel not having a good run out of the last braking zone, and Racing is just behind him. Rocco is going to get himself involved as well. Racing DRS open. Rocco is going to move to the outside. They're going to have a 3 wide on the run down to turn 1. Racing just moves ahead. Rocco and Daniel now going wheel to wheel. Daniel is going to be on the inside here. Will Rocco be able to capitalise on being on the outside? They're going to take a wheel to wheel through turn 2. They're both going to have DRS. Rocco has just moved himself ahead with a nicer exit, but Daniel is going to use this pace and they're just switching positions. Daniel up into 2nd now. Can he remain in 2nd place and use their mediums to his advantage? He does remain in 2nd place. Rocco down into 3rd, but that squabbling has started to draw Deki and Makamu back into us further back. Rylan and B French are battling it out as well, but the battle for the lead right now starting to heat up. We'll have a quick look further back. as Rylan is down in 7th position and hasn't yet pit though, so there's a chance to pit and be on fresher tyres near the end of this race. Racing already trying to break that DRS to Daniel as further back. I'm hearing that B French hit a wall, and that is why he's losing it. Losing an airplane, lost an airplane. Rylan is up ahead of him, and now Rylan has a lot to do to drag himself back into this race. Yeah, it's just a lot to do to drag himself back into this race now. But we'll go on this battle for P2 now. Daniel is not going to get the DRS down this main straight. Rocco is within DRS range and has the DRS, and now can he make this capitalise on Daniel? He moves to the outside, Daniel on the inside, and he makes a move before the first corner. Good move from Rocco there, up into second, clips the wall on the outside of turn 1 there, and he loses a bit of time to Daniel from it. Now who has the DRS here? Daniel has the DRS in fact, and Daniel is ahead of Rocco. So Rocco just has to try and just stay within the DRS of Daniel this time around, with 2 seconds the gap between P1 and P2 now. Racing is flying out in the lead as Makambu and Teki are going to take a wheel-to-wheel through turn 3. Teki just remains ahead of Makambu, the Polish driver, not able to capitalise on much at the moment. Teki does have a missing front right end plate, however, so that'll be interesting to keep the eye on as this race continues. But Rocco and Daniel continuing to battle it out for second position in this race. Daniel, you'd suspect, would have to pit again. Rocco could try and take the hards to the end if he felt like it, as Daniel almost hits a wall up through the castle section as he's sliding all over the place on the exit there. Oh, I'm going to take a quick swig of a drink. As we're back, once again Rocco continuing to try and put that pressure on Daniel here in not Singapore, Baku tonight. Why did I think about Singapore? I don't have a clue, but Rocco is well within the DRS range now of Daniel, and he's going to yet again move to the outside. Daniel is actually in the pit, so never mind, it's going to be an easy overtake because Daniel isn't even trying to fight back. So Rocco up into second, but 4.7 the gap between him and Racing now. That's a lot to overcome. New mediums onto Daniel's car. He only spent about 6 laps on that set, and he's got to go 12 on this set. Interesting choice from him. Rylan still out on the hard compound of tyres. Sauber driver feeling that the hards are the better tyre at the minute, which in some ways, with front 2 both being on the hards, does look like it is possibly the case. As we'll look at this battle between Makamu and Teki now and see what they can do in this race with one another. Who will prevail out on top of the other one of these two? And that's a nice camera angle through the castle section there, as Daniel has made it past French further back down the grid, and he's now going to put a little bit of pressure on Rylan in a moment's time. Rylan just continuing to drop further and further back from these two, battling out now for third position. Whether either will pit before the end of the race again is to be seen as this race continues. Not sure what they both started on the hards, so they will pit once again in this race. But now it's just a chance for them to try and just open up that gap, as we will actually in a moment's time have a look at Daniel, as B French is again facing the wrong way on that exit of the final braking zone. Daniel is going to put the pressure on Rylan. He's going to have to run on the Sauber driver this time round. Teki is in the pit lane, and so is Rylan. So Rylan now deciding it's time to come in for the medium compound tyres. Teki on the mediums. Daniel comes out ahead of Teki as expected. And now when does Makamu make his decision to pit? As B French is also into the pits. And mediums onto the Sauber driver. It looks like it's a new front wing for the Ferrari, man. And I'd love to get an angle to know if it was a new front wing, but no, I just have an angle looking at the rear tyres. As I'm getting told, it was a new front wing. Thank you. I hate the angles where you can't actually see what is going on. But everyone now, spaced out again. We'll ride on board with Macamou to see what he does in this race now. Is there anything to relay to the fans watching at home about the league going forward or not? As the silence, so I'll go back to yapping about nothingness. Anything you want me to relay to the people watching at home? Fantasy has a 6-race mini-season up and coming for the end of this season. There's 3 placeholder spots if anyone wants to create their own team, as Rocco is in the pits actually. Sorry to cut myself off, but Rocco into the pits, going to change off them hard compound off tyres. Let's see what he is going to go on to. He goes on to another set of hards. Macamou stays out. He's now up into second. Interesting to see what he can do. Techie comes out ahead of Rocco. Rocco dropping down to 5th. But continuing with what I started to say there. With what I started to say. That's what I was starting to say. So Fantasy 6-race mini-season up and coming in the next couple of weeks' time. There's 3 placeholder spots available for anyone who would like to create their own team. In that, there will be getting a link chucked in somewhere. We're told. I think it's Twitch chat from what I can work out. It's just assuming for the Discord to join and create your own team if you're not in it yet. GL or not? The thingy that's being made? Yeah. Should I mention it or not? Okay, and then well, I wasn't sure because you said we were going to wait a bit until, you know. So we also have Gridlink, who are one of our main sponsors. It's they're working with a couple of other leagues, but our main sponsor mainly with us. And it's basically, you'll know, like racing league tools and stuff like that. It's basically something like that, but it's a bit more customizable. And they are, from what I've heard, as Techie takes a faster slap off the race. I need to stop cutting myself off when I'm saying one thing and going into another, but Techie is now putting pressure on Daniel. But yeah, Gridlink are one of our main sponsors. Very nice and amazing people for what they're doing, and it'll be interesting to look forward and seeing what that partnership can bring to the league. But once it's all up and running properly, I'm sure there'll be a link somewhere to it, but still currently in development. But there's been a change for the lead. Racing makes it back past Macamou after being in the pits. So Macamou, the only driver to not have made a second stop yet in this race, as Daniel picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit infringements. But yeah, Gridlink, one of our sponsors. So keep your eye out for that. Okay. Well, I can guarantee I am focusing partially on the race, partially on what happened in the OSM save today. Chelsea 4, Leeds 4 is all I'm going to say. Liverpool 1, Sunderland 1. But Techie now on the back of Daniel, DRS open, he's going to put the pressure on the Australian driver as Makabu is now into the pits. You'd suspect a new set of mediums as Techie just turned in a little bit earlier. A little clip off the inside wall, and there's a new set of mediums for Makabu. So Daniel now up in second, Techie up into third, Rocco in fourth. Makabu comes out, or should come out ahead of Rylan. You'd suspect it's going to be a close one between the two of them, but we're going to stay on this battle. As yeah, he does come out before Rylan. We're going to keep on this battle, riding on board with Techie rather than off board, as just the onboard view looks a little bit nicer here tonight. Well, let's see what Techie, the unknown nationality driver, can do here. I'm saying unknown nationality because I don't have a clue what nationality the guy's from. British? Well, Techie, the British driver. I really don't sound like I'm saying a T there. Enough of me yapping about how I say stuff. Techie, the British driver, is up in third place now, but he's piling the pressure on the Australian ahead of him. It'll be interesting to see what will come, as Daniel has a little bit of a slide through that corner. Now down into the final braking zone. Can Techie still with that end plate missing, but it doesn't look like it's affecting his performance too much. There's still 11 seconds off Racing, who is absolutely flying tonight. He's having a very good race out in the lead. But anything can happen as Techie, DRS open. Let's see if he can capitalise on a move down into turn 1. No, he decides against it. He decided it wasn't worth it and just backs out. But this is the only two drivers who are having a battle on track now. But if they continue battling, they're gonna come under a little bit of pressure from Morocco behind, who's trying to close down the gap to these two. As Techie once again just moves to the inside, then decides no, it's not the chance to make it's not time to make the move. And will continue to sit in behind Daniel. I just try to put Daniel under some pressure, but he's going to be putting himself under pressure from Rocco if he stays behind for too long. He's going to want to get a move on as soon as he can. Apologies for the silence for a moment. I'm just getting my stream ready for after this when I'm off to race. Assetto corsa competizione. I don't need to add the accent, it just sounds better with the accent. So let's see what these two can bring us this time around. We'll ride on board once again with Techie, and let's see. Hey, makes it look easy this time around. Daniel's in the pits again. And what is the point of this? He's in the pits again. Makamu took the mediums 10 laps last time. Rylan's going to take the mediums 10 laps. Daniel's in for the softs. What is the point? And the softs are not a racing tyre. This could be a generational bottle job of a podium position today. If he pulls himself back into a podium position, he's still got to open up that penalty gap. This could be a generational bottle job incoming. Well, let's see what happens here. As Daniel has left the session, in fact. So quickly give him an invite. As he's got an invite back, and hopefully he gets himself back in soon. That could really be the nail in the coffin to throwing away this podium tonight. No one is really close to each other whatsoever. Rylan's the closest to near anyone on track, and he's still losing out to Daniel. He's under AI. 21st of September. And I don't know why I'm having a little sing to myself in my head. Well, technically, if you're not actually playing the actual song, you can't get copyrighted. Pew 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 pew. I'm not saying that on stream. I'm not saying that on stream. Which job is this again? The cafe has one? I'm sorry, what? Okay. The stream isn't going to know what this is about because I don't want to say this on what you just said on stream. But did I tell you the story about when my politics teacher didn't know what it was? I'm going to tell you after the race about that one. That was an amazing story. I was with the year 9 in the class as well. I think that's all I'm going to say. So like, oh my god, I just got pinged in the server by someone saying I beat them in a rally by 6 thousandths of a second. But Rocco is closing in on Techie now. This will be an interesting one. As Sunderland have took the lead over Burnley. This isn't a football channel, but whilst the race has not got much going on for it, we'll give you a little bit of the football updates. So yeah, that's happening over there. So what can Rocco do now? Can Rocco nick second position, or will Techie just hold off? It does look like the hard for Rocco just starting to become the better tyre a little bit, but you never know what'll happen. Anything can happen in racing. As yeah, this link has been posted. Huh? What? The Techie is defending well against Rocco, but sorry, what did you say? I thought she was married. Huh? Am I allowed to say that? Sure, I mean, Rocco's made it past Techie. You just completely baffled my mind when they were trying to battle. I missed the overtake. I'm... Huh? I don't... Huh? I mean, it's a Sun reporting it, so it's not 100% right, but... hold on, I'm gonna have to search this up in a minute. I'm gonna see if there's any... Oh, it's on... Okay, it's on TikTok. Great. W do sus. Hold, send it. Send it. Oh wait, Rashan's doing it. What? Well, everybody, Context as to why Ninja is down in 6th and not doing great this race. He's live on TikTok and he's looking at the chat more than the race there. Now, if you were to ask a racing expert, should you be focusing more on the chat or the race, they would say the race. As Rocco is ready to go wheel to wheel with Techie once again. Rocco will get the DRS, and he has the DRS open as Techie pulls right in behind the Williams, trying to get a little bit of a toe. Is Techie going to go for it down the inside? He is going to go for it down the inside again. Rocco is going to try to hang it around the outside. Rocco is still just ahead, and Rocco remains ahead. Huh? Oh god. So, update Rylan aka Erling 4 Quadrant, the Sauber. He's happy to be in the middle of nowhere, and the league owner's getting chatted up by him apparently. That's all I'm getting told. I'm getting some of the most random information down my ear at the minute. Yeah, I don't really know what to say anymore. I really don't know what to say. Continuing, Rocco has left Techie in the dust. Racing has got a 30-second lead, and he's now pulling into the pits, possibly for the softs. Is there a fastest lap? I don't know. Is there a fastest lap? There's no fastest lap, so Racing is not going to get a fastest lap point for this. However, he's just doing it for the shits and giggles. I mean, he's come out, and the lead... He's come out and the Rocco wasn't even at the same lap as him. That is mental. But there's a puncture for Riley. The Sauber, not the Mercedes. I was going to say the Mercedes. The Sauber has a rear right puncture, and that could spell disaster in his battle with B French. Can he get into the pits without killing himself? He can. And now, B French hurtling down the straight. Passes him. Rylan. He'll be scoring points still. Softs go on to he'll still be scoring points, but not in the way he would have hoped. And now with that, it'll be interesting. Daniel on the softs, he's been on them 5 laps, he's got a lap and a half to go. Can he get around without a puncture? Because Rylan was on 9-lap old mediums when he picked up that puncture. So it's going to be interesting in the dying embers of this race. I've just seen the screenshots. And we have a 3-way battle. I was about not at the bottom. We're having a 3-way battle here now for P3. Techie, Makabu and Daniel. Daniel realistically out of this on them softs with the time penalty, but Makabu makes the move down the inside as well on the final lap of the race. Now Daniel's going to have a little look down the inside as well. And does this help Makabu now? Possibly. Is it going to go wheel to wheel? And it's not really helping Makabu if he's just going to keep Daniel's going to keep battling. Daniel has no reason to be battling here realistically. He's got the time penalty, which is going to rule him out of the podium anyway. Yes, he could say he takes it on track, but if he has an incident with either of these, if he sort of hits either of these and puts them in a wall, that ruins their podium chance. So there's no point in Daniel's. Makabu just shoves Daniel through the corner. Makabu, the Polish driver, number 99. Huge respect for him having number 99. I love that number. just shoves him through. As Rylan has caught back up with B-French, so we'll keep an eye on how that battle goes as well. But Racing, he took pole position here tonight. He's led pretty much every lap of the race. He's on the softs. He made the extra pit stop when he didn't really need to, but he's going to come home to take the checkered flag first, and Racing wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix with the fastest lap of the race to top it off. We'll switch back now to Daniel, who still leads Teki. What's happened to Teki? He's dropped so much. Is he out of fuel? Rocco is going to come home to 6 seconds. Mackenboo's in a wall. I missed that. Mackenboo is in a wall. And what's the contact between him and Daniel? So Rocco takes second. Daniel will take third, but there's huge question marks over what happened between him and Mackenboo there at the end. Mackenboo will take fourth. Teki will take fifth on track. There could be some post-race penalties in play. Rylan has made it past B-French and convincingly past B-French. And he's going to come home to finish in 6th position. Rylan will finish in 6th place. And then B-French will come home to finish 7th on his debut. So that's your final race. Results, that's the word I was looking for. So quickly watch the podium and then we'll get the results. So Racing, the Lithuanian, takes the win. Rocco finishes in 2nd. Daniel rounds off the podium but could be facing penalties later on. Mackenboo in 4th, Teki in 5th, Rylan in 6th, B-French in 7th, and then we lost Angelo, Furious, Wolchak, Pola, who was Liam in the end, and Mov along the way. That is everything for this week. Wednesday will be Elite Division. They go racing. Where do Elite go racing on Wednesday? No, where? Oh yeah, they go racing in Abu Dhabi. I forgot about that one. And we will be back next Monday in Miami for the 2nd American race of the season. Hope everyone had a good time tonight watching the stream. We'll be back next time to bring you more racing in CRL. Until then, goodbye.